Woman, listen carefully. This is not a correction of your behavior. This is a restoration of your identity. God never created you to be just nice. He created you to be necessary. But somewhere along the way, culture redefined you. It told you, be soft but not strong. Be kind but not confrontational. Be present but not powerful. So you learned how to smile, but you forgot how to stand. You learned how to please, but you forgot how to lead. You learned how to accommodate, but you forgot how to command. And now God is interrupting that version of you because being nice has cost you too much. It has cost you your voice. It has cost you your boundaries. It has cost you your identity. Let me say something that may shake you. A woman without boundaries becomes a container for everyone else's expectations. And God did not design you to be a container. He designed you to be a carrier of purpose. There is power in your voice. There is authority in your presence. There is purpose in your decisions. But if you are always trying to be liked, you will never be respected. If you are always avoiding conflict, you will never create change. If you are always shrinking, you will never step into your calling. Most women misunderstand this because they were trained to equate good with silence. But silence is not always holy. Sometimes silence is fear in disguise. You remain quiet when you should speak. You accept what you should reject. You tolerate what you were never assigned to carry. And slowly, you disappear, but hear this clearly. Your purpose requires your presence. Not a reduced version of you, not a diluted version of you, but the full, unapologetic, fearless version of who God created. You are not here to fit into systems. You are here to shift them. You are not here to be approved. You are here to be effective. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be obedient to purpose. And purpose will demand courage. It will demand that you say no without guilt. It will demand that you walk away without explanation. It will demand that you stand alone if necessary, because destiny is not democratic. So today, God is not asking you to be nicer. He is commanding you to be truer. Truer to your calling, truer to your identity, truer to your purpose. Stop being the nice girl and become the powerful woman you were designed to be. There is a woman inside of you who has never fully been introduced to the world. Not because she does not exist, but because she has been buried under years of conditioning, expectations, and silent compromises. From a young age, you were not just raised, you were shaped to be agreeable, shaped to be acceptable, shaped to be nice. And in the process of becoming what the world approved, you slowly disconnected from who you truly are. You learned how to smile even when you were hurting. You learned how to say yes when your spirit was screaming no. You learned how to make others comfortable, even if it meant making yourself invisible. And over time, this became your identity, not because it was true, but because it was repeated. But repetition does not create truth. It creates familiarity. And many women today are living in a familiar version of themselves that is completely disconnected from their divine design. The greatest tragedy is not failure. It is living a life that is not yours. It is waking up every day performing a role instead of expressing a purpose. Because when you are disconnected from your true identity, you will always feel a sense of emptiness, no matter how much you achieve or how many people approve of you. Approval can fill your ears, but it will never fill your soul. Self-discovery begins with a confrontation with the lies you have believed about yourself. The lie that you are too emotional, the lie that you are too strong, the lie that you must always sacrifice yourself to be valued. These are not truths. They are limitations placed on a limitless being. And until you challenge those lies, you will continue to live beneath your potential. You must understand this. Your identity is not something you create. It is something you discover. It was already placed inside of you before anyone had an opinion about you. Before the world told you who to be, God already decided who you are. And that identity is not weak. It is not silent and it is not passive. It is powerful, it is intentional, and it is purposeful. There is a difference between being kind and being controlled. Many women have confused the two. Kindness is a choice, but being controlled is a condition. When you feel guilty for saying no, when you feel afraid to speak your truth, when you constantly seek validation before making decisions, that is not kindness, that is control. And anything that controls you will eventually consume you. Transformation begins the moment you take your power back. Not by becoming harsh, but by becoming honest. Honest about what you feel. Honest about what you deserve. Honest about what you will no longer tolerate. Because every time you dishonor your truth, you delay your transformation. There is power in your voice, but your voice cannot function if it is constantly filtered through fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood. But let me tell you something. Being misunderstood is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Living misunderstood by yourself is far worse. When you silence your own truth, you create an internal conflict that no external approval can fix. You were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. Not for attention, but for impact. There is something inside of you that the world needs, but it will never be released as long as you are trying to fit into spaces that require you to shrink. You cannot expand in environments that demand your reduction. Growth will require you to become uncomfortable. It will require you to unlearn behaviors that once protected you, but now limit you. It will require you to outgrow relationships that only knew the smaller version of you. And that process can feel lonely, but it is necessary. Because evolution often requires separation before elevation. You must also understand that your emotions are not your weakness. They are your signal. They are indicators of what matters to you, of what aligns with you, of what violates your boundaries. But if you have been taught to suppress your emotions, you will lose access to one of your greatest internal guidance systems. There is a version of you that is waiting on the other side of your fear. A version of you that speaks without hesitation, that moves without apology, that lives without permission. But she cannot emerge until you are willing to release the version of you that is built on approval. Let me say this again, because it must sink into your spirit. You cannot become who you were created to be if you are committed to staying who you were conditioned to be. One of them has to go, and the one that must go is the one that is rooted in fear, not in truth. You have spent years asking, what will they think? Now it is time to ask, what do I know? What do you know about your worth? What do you know about your purpose? What do you know about what you deserve? Because clarity does not come from the outside. It comes from within. Self-discovery is not a one-time event. It is a continuous process of alignment. Every decision you make either brings you closer to your true self or further away from it. And the more you choose yourself, the clearer your identity becomes. You are not too much. You are simply too much for people who are committed to your limitation. You are not intimidating. You are a reflection of power that others have not yet embraced in themselves. You are not difficult. You are discerning. And discernment is necessary for destiny. There is greatness inside of you, but greatness requires permission from you. Not from society, not from family, not from culture, from you. The moment you decide to fully accept who you are, without apology and without reduction, you activate a level of confidence that cannot be shaken. So rise, not into arrogance, but into awareness, not into aggression, but into alignment, not into rebellion, but into realization. Realize who you are, realize what you carry, realize what you are capable of. And once you see it, you will never go back to being just nice. Because you will finally understand, you were never created to be small. There comes a defining moment in a woman's life when inspiration is no longer enough. A moment when motivation fades, emotions settle, and reality stands in front of her asking one question. Will you do what is required, or will you return to what is comfortable? Because purpose is not proven in moments of excitement. It is proven in moments of discipline. You can feel powerful and still live powerless if your actions do not align with your revelation. You can discover your identity and still delay your destiny if you lack structure. And this is the silent struggle of many women. They awaken internally, but they hesitate externally. They know who they are, but they are not yet living like it. Discipline is the difference. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not restriction. Discipline is alignment with what matters most. It is the ability to command yourself even when your emotions resist. It is the decision to act according to purpose, not according to mood. A nice girl waits until she feels ready. A powerful woman moves because she is committed. Feelings are unstable. One day you feel strong, the next day you feel uncertain. One day you feel confident, the next day you feel afraid. If your life is built on feelings, it will always be inconsistent. But discipline creates stability. Discipline says, even if I feel fear, I will still move. Even if I feel doubt, I will still decide. Even if I feel uncomfortable, I will still execute. And this is where leadership is born. Leadership is not about position. It is about responsibility. It is about how you manage your time, your energy, your focus, and your decisions. Because before you can lead others, you must first prove that you can lead yourself. Self-leadership is the highest form of leadership. Can you wake up when you said you would? Can you say no when it is necessary? Can you remain consistent when no one is watching? Can you continue when results are not immediate? These are the questions that define leadership. Many women desire influence, but they avoid accountability. They want to be seen, but they do not want to be stretched. They want success, but they resist the systems that produce it. But success is not spontaneous, it is structured. Every great life is built on daily decisions, small decisions, repeated decisions, disciplined decisions. The decision to protect your time instead of wasting it. The decision to invest in yourself instead of neglecting your growth. The decision to prioritize purpose over pleasure. And let me make something clear. Discipline will require sacrifice. You cannot say yes to everything and still succeed. You cannot please everyone and still progress. You cannot stay comfortable and still grow. Something must be released for something greater to be received. And this is where many women struggle. With boundaries, boundaries are not barriers, they are filters. They determine what has access to you and what does not. They define what you will tolerate and what you will reject. And without boundaries, your life will be controlled by external demands instead of internal direction. A woman without boundaries becomes exhausted. A woman with boundaries becomes effective. You must learn to say no without explaining yourself. You must learn to walk away without feeling guilty. You must learn to protect your peace without apologizing. Because every time you compromise your standards, you weaken your foundation. And leadership requires a strong foundation. You cannot build a legacy on inconsistency. You cannot sustain success without discipline. You cannot fulfill purpose without structure. Let us talk about vision. Vision is the ability to see what does not yet exist. It is the picture of your future that guides your present decisions. And without vision, discipline feels meaningless. Without vision, sacrifice feels painful. Without vision, effort feels empty. But when you have vision, everything changes. You begin to understand why you must wake up early. You begin to understand why you must say no. You begin to understand why you must stay focused, because vision gives meaning to discipline. And here is the truth. If you do not define your vision, someone else will define your life. Society will tell you who to be. Culture will tell you how to live. People will tell you what to accept. But a woman with vision cannot be easily influenced. She knows where she is going, and that clarity protects her from distraction. Distraction is the enemy of discipline. Every day, There will be opportunities to waste your time, to drain your energy, to pull you away from your purpose. And if you are not intentional, you will lose hours, days, even years to things that do not matter. Time is your most valuable resource. You can recover money. You can rebuild relationships. You can regain opportunities, but you cannot recover lost time. So you must treat your time with respect. Guard it, invest it, use it wisely, because every moment you spend is a seed you are planting, and every seed produces a harvest. The question is, what are you planting? Are you planting discipline or distraction? Are you planting focus or fear? Are you planting purpose or procrastination? Your future is not a mystery. It is a result of what you do daily, a result of what you tolerate consistently, a result of what you prioritize intentionally. Now let us talk about execution. Ideas are powerful, but they are not enough. Dreams are beautiful, but they are not enough. Vision is important, but it is not enough. Execution is what brings everything to life. Execution is action. Action when it is uncomfortable. Action when it is uncertain. Action when it is inconvenient. Many women are full of ideas but empty of execution. They think, they plan, they imagine, but they do not act. And without action, nothing changes. Progress requires movement. You cannot think your way into a new life, you must act your way into it. And action will not always be perfect. In fact, most of the time, it will be messy. It will be imperfect. It will be uncertain. But imperfect action is better than perfect intention, because intention without action is just delay. Let me also address fear. Fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that something important is ahead. Every time you step into something new, fear will appear. Every time you move beyond your comfort zone, fear will speak. And if you listen to fear, you will remain stuck. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move despite it. You must train yourself to act even when you feel afraid, to speak even when your voice shakes, to move even when your mind doubts, because on the other side of fear is growth. On the other side of fear is expansion. On the other side of fear is your next level. Now let us speak about legacy. Legacy is not what you leave behind. It is what you build while you are here. It is the impact of your life on others. It is the influence you carry through your actions, your decisions, and your example. Every woman is building a legacy, whether she is intentional about it or not. The question is, what kind of legacy are you building? Are you building a legacy of fear or faith? A legacy of silence or strength? A legacy of limitation or leadership? There are people watching you. Young girls observing how you handle pressure. Other women observing how you carry yourself. Families observing how you make decisions. And your life is teaching them something. You may not realize it, but your choices are creating a blueprint for someone else. Your courage gives others permission to be courageous. Your discipline gives others a standard to follow. Your growth creates a pathway for others to walk. So when you rise, you do not rise alone. You lift others with you. And this is why your discipline matters. This is why your leadership matters. This is why your legacy matters. Because your life is bigger than you. You were not created just to exist. You were not created just to survive. You were created to influence, to impact, to transform. But that requires responsibility. Responsibility for your choices. Responsibility for your growth. Responsibility for your future. No one else can live your life for you. No one else can fulfill your purpose for you. No one else can build your legacy for you. It is your responsibility. And responsibility is not a burden. It is a privilege. It means you have the power to change your life. It means you have the ability to shape your future. It means you are not stuck. You are in control. So take control. Control your habits. Control your thoughts. Control your actions and align them with your purpose. Because when a woman becomes disciplined, she becomes unstoppable. She no longer waits. She acts. She no longer doubts. She decides. She no longer shrinks, she expands. She becomes a force of clarity, a force of confidence, a force of consistency. And nothing can stop a woman who knows who she is and is disciplined enough to live like it. So stop settling, stop delaying, stop shrinking, and start building. Build your habits, build your discipline, build your vision, build your legacy, because at the end of your life, you will not be remembered for how comfortable you were. You will be remembered for how committed you were. Committed to growth, committed to purpose, committed to becoming everything you were created to be. And when you stand at that moment, looking back at your life, you will not regret the discipline. You will not regret the sacrifices. You will not regret the boundaries.